कर दो ना, मेरे दामन को भर दो ना। लाल मैं भी तुम्हारा हूँ, तो फिर क्यों बेसहारा हूँ।
दया थोड़ी सी कर दो ना, मेरे दामन को भर दो ना। लाल मैं भी तुम्हारा हूँ, तो फिर क्यों बेसहारा हूँ।
कृपा कर दे, तू तो ममता की मूरत है। प्रभु मुझ पे कृपा कर दे, तू तो ममता की मूरत है। मैं प्यासा हूँ तो सागर है, मुझे तेरी जरूरत है। दया की बूंद बरसाओ, मुझे ना और तरसाओ। लाल मैं भी तुम्हारा हूँ, तो फिर क्यों बेसहारा हूँ।
दया थोड़ी सी कर दो ना, मेरे दामन को भर दो ना। लाल मैं भी तुम्हारा हूँ, तो फिर क्यों बेसहारा हूँ।
दया थोड़ी सी कर दो ना, मेरे दामन को भर दो ना। तड़पता देख कर मुझको समाना खूब हंसता है। ये दुनिया लाज की दुश्मन, दुखाती है ये मेरा मन। लाल मैं भी तुम्हारा हूँ, तो फिर क्यों बेसहारा हूँ।
दया थोड़ी सी कर दो ना, मेरे दामन को भर दो ना। लाल मैं भी तुम्हारा हूँ, तो फिर क्यों बेसहारा हूँ।
दया थोड़ी सी कर दो ना, मेरे दामन को भर दो ना। दुखों की रात है तो क्या, सुख का सूरज भी निकलेगा। दुखों की रात है तो क्या, सुख का सूरज भी निकलेगा। हलक पे जान है मेरी, दया का दान दे तेरी। लाल मैं भी तुम्हारा हूँ, तो फिर क्यों बेसहारा हूँ। दया थोड़ी सी कर दो ना, मेरे दामन को भर दो ना। लाल मैं भी तुम्हारा हूँ, तो फिर क्यों बेसहारा हूँ।
दया थोड़ी सी कर दो ना,
मेरे दामन को भर दो ना।
Om Shanti, dear family, and special welcome and greetings to our brother Shantanu. Hello, Shantanu, bye. So it's my privilege to introduce you to this very special jewel from our Brahmin family. Brother Shantanu is actually from Madhuban, but his heart is so big and he makes himself belong to every part of the world. And so he considers himself to, he considers the entire planet to be his home. And just a little bit of background about Brother Shantanu. He actually studied fashion design, and I didn't realize that until I received his profile, and I'm quite fascinated about that. And his studies started in India, but eventually took him to Paris. And so he was working for a while in fashion, in teaching design, I think in Paris. And at a certain point in time, Brother Shantanu developed a special interest in environmental issues. And that, in a sense, became his foremost passion when it comes to service to humanity. And some of you might be aware, but Brother Shantanu, associated himself with all of Baba's work that's being done from the UN office, Baba's UN office, in support of environmental issues, and with special interest in the younger age group and inspiring young people to develop an awareness and to commit to positive action, in support of the planet. And very interestingly, he became vegan in 2015, and I know him personally. He's very, very committed to his vegan lifestyle. And I think it's really beautiful because he really walks his talk by being vegan and by being so passionate and dedicating himself in terms of all his hard work and effort to environmental issues. His entire being is, in a sense, focused in that regard. And some roles that he plays, he actually plays quite a key role when it comes to UN work for young people and with young people for the environment, which extends actually now past the UN, Baba's UN office, because he's now aligned to the international groups. There's a long list of tongue twisters here. UNEPMGCY and YOUNGOUNFSS. I don't know what all of these means, but I'm quite sure it's very, very important. And I've had the privilege of actually being alongside him in some of the online presentations and workshops and things like that. And he really makes a marvelous contribution. He's also a mentor in Climate Ambassadors Program of Care for climate organizations. But more than that, he's just Baba's beautiful child, and he really believes about this inner shift in consciousness, which can help us to look into solutions rather than just external actions. One of his strongest beliefs are reflected in the statement, simplicity is kindness, and that is so much like Brother Shantanu. And one thing that stood out for me in Brother Shantanu's journey, especially last year, was that he actually went out of Madhuban for a while and he attended courses in other parts of India. Initially, it was a program that he underwent for health and fitness, personal health and fitness, but obviously gained a lot of tools and techniques from there so that he would be able to actually support the Brahmin family in this regard. Care for the body and how it's so deeply connected to care of the mind. And then that entire journey of self-care and fitness ended in him actually doing a Hatha yoga course in the Himalayas for a month. And so now he's got a certification, and he actually should be called Yoga Shiromani. But last night when I was chatting with him, he says he's actually, it's his own version of being a Yoga Shiromani. So many, many wonderful jewels and secrets that we can capture from this dear, sweet brother of ours. And I'm looking forward to hearing Baba's Murli via Brother Shantanu, as I'm sure you are. So I'm not going to take any much more time. I'll hand you over to Shantanu. And Shantanu, welcome once again. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Am I properly audible?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much, Mr. Devendri, or I would say to the entire family as well for finding out opportunity for me to connect with you all. And it was a long due in drama to happen. So I'm thankful to drama as well. And of course, the biggest thanks goes to Baba because he made all this happen, in just one thought that let me go and connect my children. And then he started connecting everybody and how it finally shapes up into this beautiful gathering. It's just a glimpse of what his bigger plans are. So thank you so much. Let's start with Baba's Murli and what Baba is sharing today with his beautiful children. And in the Murli, there are many interesting points, and we can all connect that and share later. Uh, Let us first be very focused and remember that this is the most important time of the entire day for the entire, not just day today, but also for many days to come, because what I eat today is going to support me for many days. So maybe one point from the Murli might be very, very crucial in the coming days of my participating in actions and things. So let's just be very focused and see what Baba has to say to us. He says, sweet children, if you want to claim the inheritance of constant happiness, I like when he used if, because then it is not his decision, it's our choice then. Sweet children, if you want to claim the inheritance of constant happiness from the unlimited Father, remove all the defects from within you. Study well and also teach others. So that one sentence has so much information there. Defects from within myself and not others. Study well and also teach others. And also unlimited Father is the only source for constant happiness. And also that is only possible if I want to claim it. So ultimately it all zero downs to me, my choices, my efforts in my transformation. Question: what special virtue do you need in order to become an instrument for doing service in the same way as the Father? Many people are doing service. Many really are doing very good service. But like the Father, in the same way as how Baba serves, what special virtue do you need in order to become an instrument for doing service in the same way as the Father? You can write it in the chat if you think of an answer. And Baba says tolerance. And now it's wonder to understand, does Baba have to tolerate? Because Baba says in the same way as the Father. So do you think Baba tolerates when he comes to serve the children and the world? How many of you think yes? You can put a plus or you can write it on the chat. Baba says tolerance, don't have too much attachment to your body. Do everything with the power of yoga. When all your illnesses are finished with the power of yoga, you will be able to become an instrument and do service in the same way as the Father. So Baba had to tolerate the how do you call it, the defamation that Brahma Baba had to take when he was supporting Shiv Baba. And because Shiv Baba was taking the loan of the body of Brahma, he was also eventually receiving those. And even before that, we have been telling that God is omnipresent, God is there, God is the reason for my sorrow and all that. So in that way also we have defamed him, and he has tolerated all that, and yet he showers all the inheritance to us, because only the person or only that individual who has love is able to tolerate. So tolerance is equal to love. The amount of love I have would show how much I can tolerate. And Baba is the ocean of love, so tolerance for him is so easy that it doesn't look like he's tolerating. And so Baba also says, to become an instrument, we have to finish all the illnesses. So illnesses not of the body, but of the soul, the illnesses that are like the vices. Because the illnesses of the body will happen, they keep on going, but the illnesses of the soul are the things that Baba is referring here. He also asks the second question. He says, by your committing which great sins does your intellect become locked? Even in the sense he's saying great sins, your intellect becomes locked. Answer, if after belonging to the Father, you defame the Father, and instead of being obedient and faithful, you do disservice under the influence of an evil spirit and don't let go of that dirty activity, your intellect becomes locked by that huge sin. Song, who has come to the door of my mind and the sound of with the sound of ankle bells. Om Shanti. God speaks. You children know that the incorporeal one, the purifier, the ocean of knowledge, sits here and teaches you soul. This, to study the scriptures, etc., belongs to the path of devotion. No one studies those in the golden and silver ages. People have continued to study them from the copper age onwards. It was human beings who wrote the scriptures. God did not write them, and Vyas was not God. Vyas was a human being. Everyone remembers the incorporeal Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. Vyas was a sage whom people believe had written the scriptures. The mistake they may have made is that they have considered Sri Krishna to be the God of the Gita. The Father explains, I, not Sri Krishna, am the ocean of knowledge. Only the Father knows the history and geography of this unlimited region, and then this corporeal world. No one, apart from myself, the incorporeal seed, the ocean of knowledge, can give you the knowledge of how this cycle turns. No one other than Shiv Baba can give us this knowledge, how the cycle turns. Not just the cycle of the world, but the cycle of the soul also, how the soul is the most purified, and then it goes through the cycle. So he gives us double knowledge. Then, when the path of devotion begins, devotees sit and write those scriptures, etc. Those scriptures are going to be written again. It isn't that they will stop writing them. The original eternal religion of Bharat is the religion of the deities. At the beginning of the golden age, it was the kingdom of deities. The people of Bharat have forgotten their religion. Those who were pure have now become impure, and that is why God says, I come and purify you impure human beings and make you into pure deities. The people of Bharat have forgotten their religion. Those who were pure have now become impure, and that is why God says, I come and purify you impure human beings and make you into pure deities. You know that you are studying in order to become deities. No one, apart from the Father, can change you from humans into deities. because everyone here is impure and corrupt. How will they become pure and elevated? This impure devilish world is the kingdom of Ravan. There is no kingdom now. The kingdoms of Ram and Ravan are remembered. God comes and establishes the kingdom of Ram. People say, "Oh God, come and tell us the knowledge of the Gita once again." Krishna would not tell it because he's not the ocean of knowledge, as Baba said earlier. You children now understand that it isn't a human being who is teaching you. It is all human souls who are studying, and the one who is teaching you is the incorporeal God. What does he make you? Deities from humans. This is your aim and objective. What would students be able to study at school without an aim and objective? It is in the intellects of you children that you have come here once again to change from humans into deities. You should also know very well the one who is teaching you. His name is Shiv. He doesn't have a bodily name. All other teachers are souls who teach through their bodies. Each one has his own body. That one is the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, who says, "I don't have a body of my own. I take the support of this one." His soul is also studying and becoming the number one deity. The one who was the new man has now become old. Krishna is the first new man, and then after 84 births, he becomes Brahma. This one doesn't know his own birth, and that is why I sit and tell him. In his first birth, this one was Sri Krishna, and then he became impure by taking rebirth. I now make him Brahma and then Sri Krishna. This is also written clearly in the picture of the tree. This one is doing tapasya as a Brahmin down below. This same Brahma is standing at the top of the tree in the impure world. And now, here at conference age, he is doing tapasya. The same applies to you. We are also in the roots, we are the foundation, and now we are at the time when the cycle is finishing and we are doing tapasya. So same goes for us. You too were deities and have now become impure Shudras by taking rebirth. You are now once again becoming pure. You know that you are becoming pure through the purifier, the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. The Father tells you the method, and the method is remember me. Only by remembering me will you become pure. Only in the golden age are both souls and bodies pure. Here, everyone receives an impure body. The worst corruption is the vice of lust. Those who are born through vice are said to be corrupt. No one is corrupt in the golden age because there is no vice. Krishna is said to be completely viceless, and then those who are viceless becomes vicious. There is no vice in the golden age and silver ages, and this is why the Father says, you have to conquer these five vices. The Father alone makes the vicious world viceless. There are some who are unable to imbibe any virtues at all. The evil spirits of anger, greed, and attachment make you completely ugly. The dirtiest vice of all is lust. That too comes when does the lust comes in? When there is body consciousness. The Father says, consider yourselves to be the souls. It is souls that have sanskars of knowledge. The sanskars of knowledge in souls have now completely ended. So it's the degradation of the level of knowledge, which is one of the eternal sanskar, eternal nature of the soul being knowledgeable. Because of the degradation of that, the souls have started getting into wrong actions and vicious has become vicious. Baba says, remember me. Human beings only remember corporeal beings because they consider themselves human, so they also remember the corporeal beings. They are so used to devotion that they remember gurus and deities, etc. When they go to Badrinath or Amarnath, they sit and worship stones. They also go to Shiv temples, but none of them knows that he is the Father. That is called blind faith. No one knows when the Father comes or how he comes. Everything is now explained to the children, to you children. Among you, everything is being explained to us. Yet Baba is saying, among you, there are also few who are good, sensible, faithful, and obedient children, who don't have any evil spirits in them. Those who are influenced by evil spirits also distress others a lot because they themselves get distressed because of their own vices. And because they are distressed, they start radiating the same distress radiation to everybody else. And so Baba is saying distress for others a lot. If someone does a lot of disservice, his status is lowered. Instead of becoming a pure and a charitable soul, he becomes an even more sinful soul. First, there is body consciousness, and then the other vices also come. So the first problem is the body consciousness, forgetting that I am the being and identifying the self as the body. That's the first mistake. And then comes all other vices. Even an evil spirit of greed comes. You would then want to eat special milk toli or cream, etc. Good for me, I'm vegan. This has continued for the beginning, from the beginning. You now have to make your stage very strong. The evil spirit of greed too destroys your status. So simply, greed is also can become key in destroying our status. These evil spirits have distressed you for half the cycle. Those who say that they are becoming pure and charitable souls and are making others the same become sinful souls themselves. And then they also start making others the same. They then defame the name of the clan. If you have an evil spirit of anger, how would you remove evil spirits from others? When you see anyone's wrong activities of body consciousness, report that to Baba. Dharmaraj keeps a register and he will give you visions of everything at the time of punishment and show you how, while under the influence of those vices, you caused a lot of trouble for others. Some children burn in an evil spirit of anger. Their souls become completely dark. When you do this service, Baba closes the locks of your intellect. It's amazing where Baba is using that Baba closes the locks of the intellect. However, it is also true that when we are doing something wrong, we are self locking our intellects. But Baba is saying Baba also locks the intellect, which means what? that He would no more use us in doing service to others. If I am able to serve someone, or if I'm able to serve, it means Baba is using me. But because of my own work of defamation or wrong activities, I lose the opportunity to be chosen by Baba, to be chosen as an instrument to serve. And that's why Baba is saying that Baba closes the locks of your intellects. Such souls cannot then do any service. At the end, Baba will give you many visions and you will then become very distressed. This is why you children mustn't perform any wrong actions. Baba says, if you do perform any wrong activities, then report them to Baba. Baba understands that because of body consciousness and so will become a maid or a servant. They will also claim a low status among the subjects. Baba decorates you children with knowledge, but in spite of that, you don't reform yourselves. It is only at this time that the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, comes and decorates you with knowledge and makes you into emperors and empresses of the Golden Age. There has to be great tolerance in this. There shouldn't be too much attachment to the bodies. Do everything with the power of yoga. Baba himself is old, but he is still alert in yoga. He has a cough and yet he remains on service. He has to do so much service with his intellect to look after so many children, to make arrangements for guests, etc. He has so many burdens. He has so many thoughts about all of that. If any of the children's activity is bad, they defame the father's name. People would say, is this one a Brahma Kumar or Kumari? So the name of Brahma is defamed. This is why it is said that anyone who defames the Guru cannot attain a high status. This, in fact, refers to the Sadguru. Those iron-aged gurus have then shown it as referring to themselves. This is why people are afraid of the gurus in case they curse them. There isn't anything like that here. In here, if we do something like that, Baba is not going to curse us. We are cursing ourselves. They attract bad wishes onto themselves with their own activity. You children should be concerned about your own future. If you don't make effort now, this will be your state every cycle. The Father explains to you so clearly, but in spite that, there are some who don't stop becoming ugly. Then they break, that is, they die and fall into hell. They then stop studying. Some children keep going very well. Some take birth to God and then die after 8 or 10 years and then divorce the father. A physical father is also happy when he sees his obedient children. They are all number wise. Some even cause trouble at the centers. They become big thorns. They become part of the family here and then defame the name and claim and thereby become greatly sinful souls. Some even cause trouble at the centers. They become big thorns. They become part of the family here and then defame the name and thereby become greatly sinful souls. This is why Baba continues to explain to you, you have come here to claim your inheritance of happiness from the unlimited Father. Why we have come here? To claim our inheritance of happiness from the unlimited Father. Therefore, all your weaknesses have to be removed. Students who pass in school bet that they will pass with 80% or 90% marks. Then, when they do pass with those marks, they send telegrams to one another in great happiness. This is an unlimited study. It becomes known whether you will become part of the Sun dynasty or the Moon dynasty. When those of the Moon dynasty become the kings and the queens, those who were in the Sun dynasty then become the second number. When it is the kingdom of Ram and Sita, Lakshmi and Narayan have become junior. The name of the Sun dynasty has ended because they have become past. And so present is always more valuable. This knowledge is very entertaining. Those who follow Srimad will be able to imbibe knowledge well. They will be able to claim a high status. Shiv Baba has a part on the path of devotion and also on the path of knowledge. Shankar's job is just to destroy everything. So how can you speak of him? There is a lot said about Shiv Baba and Brahma Baba. In the cycle of 84 births, Baba has the number 1 part. Which Baba? Brahma Baba. They have been mixed up, Shiv and Shankar. Shiv Baba has the biggest part. To make all the children happy is something that requires so much work. Imagine a family of 4 and we are not able to make everybody happy. Baba has the biggest family, so imagine his work. So, to make all the children happy is something that requires so much work. He then goes to rest. This one has a part for 84 births. Those of Islam and the Buddhists, etc., come later. They don't play all round parts. Those who play all round parts receive so much happiness. We become the masters of heaven. Bharat is called heaven. There is so much happiness that you are establishing the kingdom of heaven for yourselves. You also have to explain to others so that they can make their lives worthwhile. You have come to the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, to claim your inheritance of heaven. If you don't have an aim, if you don't have that aim and objective in your intellect, what would you do while sitting here? Brahmins are the mouth-born creation of Brahma. The unlimited Father adopts, accepts unlimited children. There are so many children. Unless you belong to Brahma, you cannot claim your inheritance from Shiv Baba. Bharat was elevated and there were no evil spirits there. If there is even one evil spirit, that is said to be adulteration. Evil spirits have to be completely chased away. Many write to Baba, Baba, the evil spirit of lust came, but I was saved. Baba says, children, many storms will come, but don't perform any such action with your physical organs. Chase away the evil spirits. Otherwise, you won't be able to become part of the Sun or Moon dynasty. It is not good to go into trance because Maya interferes in that a great deal. Acha. To the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance and good morning from the mother, the father and Bap Dada. The spiritual father says namaste to the spiritual children and the spiritual children says namaste to the spiritual father. Essence for dharana. Number 1. Don't perform any sinful actions with your physical organs. Don't behave in any way that would make other people have bad wishes for you. Keep your future in your mind and perform charitable actions. Second, remove from within you Whatever ugliness and inheritance of evil spirits there is due to body consciousness. Decorate yourself with knowledge and become a worthy child. Remove from within you whatever ugliness and inheritance of evil spirits there is due to body consciousness. Decorate yourself with knowledge and become a worthy child. Blessing. May you become a constant yogi and a constant server with the easy method of staying busy. May you become a constant yogi and a constant server with the easy method of staying busy. Brahmin birth is for constantly serving. The busier you stay doing service, the more easily you will become a conqueror of Maya. So, whenever your intellect is free, engage yourself in doing service. Do not waste your time in anything. Just do service. Whether you serve with your thoughts, words, or actions. Because you cannot serve in any one manner for a long time. You can't be serving through body all the time. You'll get fatigued. You can't be serving all the time with your mouth. You'll get tired. You can't serve all the time with your mind because it's really not practical. So Baba is saying mix all the three and keep yourself busy, engaged in serving all the time. You can also serve through your contacts and activity. To stay busy doing service is to make effort easily. If you are busy, you will become free from battling and become a constant yogi and a constant server. Well, Baba is saying to stay busy, but busy in what? In service and not in the worldly matters. Slogan: in order to keep yourself, the soul, constantly healthy, continue to eat the nourishment of happiness. Like how we have to eat healthy to keep the body healthy, similarly the soul, if it needs to be healthy, it needs to take the nourishment of happiness constantly. Acha, Om Shanti. Then we have the special point for the day. In order to make every action an elevated action and a pure action, be an embodiment of the awareness of being Trikaldarshi and be the knower of the three aspects of every action. Only then will every action and thought be successful. Then you will experience yourself to be beyond old sanskars and the old nature, and always seated on the seat of a detached observer. So have to be always seated in the seat of detached observer, but for that I have to be constantly looking into the three phases of every thought and action, and only then all thoughts and actions would become successful, and only then my actions would be pure and elevated. So the key is to be the seer of the three phases of time of any action and any thoughts. Acha, Om Shanti. So what were your churnings? What were your points that you liked the most in the Murli today? What do you think was something that Baba said personally to you? And what is something that you think Baba appreciated you for? Or what is something that you think Baba said, child, take little care on that one? So please feel free to unmute yourself and share, or maybe you can write in the chat, or however Devendra suggests.
Shantubai normally souls unmute and they share verbally.
Om Shanti Bai.
Yeah, so anybody can unmute themselves and share. Is that okay?
Yes. Bai, Om Shanti. Good morning. Lovely having you with us. It's Shirley from the Lanesia branch. And what I took from Baba's Murli today is that to keep the aim and objective in the intellect, and then the soul doesn't get distracted. And the more when it's so clear, the aim and objective in my intellect, yes, as I mentioned, not to, we don't get distracted. But Baba was highlighting throughout the Murli how attentive we have to be to pay attention to the vices, how much sorrow it causes, how much damage it causes. He gave the example of, sometimes people think that, oh, the gurus give curses, etc. But Baba did mention today, the Satguru, how important to be obedient to the Satguru. But he said that through the vices influences our actions. And because of that influencing the actions, then we bring upon that sorrow, that bad wishes to ourselves as well. So deep attention on paying attention, yes, to our actions. And Baba then gave the example of filling ourselves with knowledge, and gave the example of Brahma Baba. Although he was in an old costume, he paid so much attention to yoga, and he had so much responsibilities. But what a beautiful example we had to follow. And also, yeah, Baba was saying knowledge, yoga, and service, which is like when we do service, that purest karma will always empower us and keep us focused as well. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Esther, for sharing. And yes, Baba is the best example to simplify our effort making, because Baba never had an example to follow. He had to become an example for us children. And as we know, Baba was having coughing. Baba had this issue of cough, and it was not a very small thing, because he was having the issue of coughing for almost 10 years constantly. And so every Murli that was being recorded, the brother or the sister who would record the Murli on the tapes had to pause when Baba would cough, and then again had to start recording when the coughing is finished. And Baba used to say, Khasi meri sakhi hai, which means Khasi is coughing, Sakhi is companion. Baba used to mockingly say that, oh, so coughing is my old friend. But it is interesting to recognize the fact that the evening Murli of the 18th that Baba spoke, which we all know quite by heart, was the Murli where Baba didn't cough for even once. So it was through constant practice. That Murli and that experience is an example where we see that how Baba made victory over his long accounts with the body also. That was a very interesting way to recognize how the soul is working, even though it has so much of responsibility, so much of concerns and things that they have to do, yet they were making effort internally, which was very, very crucial for the foundation of what they would put in front of other children to follow. So it's Baba was one of the first to do that, but also so was Mama and all our dadi. Someone wrote, I have come to the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, to claim my inheritance. Yes, I have come here for what? That is very important. That's my aim and objective. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here. Oh, thank you so much. So, yes, so Baba said that always keep in mind why are you here, and also the important thing that Baba said, it is not mandatory for you to be always happy. It is not mandatory for you to become the best. It is not mandatory for you to become a deity. Only if you want, all this is possible. So it's amazing how this is how he stays very detached, that when he sees that I am doing the best that anybody can do, and yet these children are not transforming, and he stays cool because he has already said, if you want, so it is totally your choice. So I always believe this, that happiness is a decision that I take. Anything that I'm feeling is a decision that I am making to feel like that. And so yes, Baba has given us the choice, and we are lucky that we had enough wisdom left in us to accept it and then start brushing our intellect into a more brighter one. So, thank you so much. Anybody else would like to share?
Om Shanti. Good
Om Shanti.
morning, brother,
Good morning, sister.
family. Yes, so I love the image that Baba created of the tree, and he used the example of Brahma Baba supporting this tree, and Baba says it's not only Brahma Baba, but it's the children as well. We are at the roots of the tree having tapasya, and we are supporting the tree of humanity. So if I need to support the tree of humanity, I include the whole world. Everyone is inclusive and not exclusive. So Baba says, if I am influenced by the evil spirits, then I will also distress others a lot. So if I am the image of support like the Father, then I will have no margin for the evil spirits and also distressing others. So I have to check myself and see whether I am creating harmony, togetherness, unity, and just have that image of the tree and support the tree. And so the whole world will be supported. Om Shanti.
Thank you, sister. I don't know your name because your name reads Infra. So if that is your name, you have a very special name. I like
It's
yes. What's your name?
Indrani for full.
Indrani.
Yes.
So I also now recognize, yes, that's a very beautiful imagery of supporting the tree, but also to remember that what supports the tree is always hidden and never looks for fame or never looks for uh, the recognition, because the roots are free from the wants and desires of recognition. That develops the merit in them to be able to support the tree. The trees are sometimes many feet tall, but the roots are not that equally tall, they are probably shorter. But even though they are shorter, the power in them in holding the necessary soil and grip is something that the tree totally depends on. And for that, the roots play a very incognito role. The power to stay incognito is something that takes a lot of will and lot of careful intention and careful practice of doing and getting detached from what I have done, and to become very, would say, uh, free of our actions in that sense is very important. So the Murli also is like a checking for us. Have I the same sanskar as the father to do, but to be detached from what I have done, to be free from the need of recognition and want of fame? So that would be something that also I would take from this Murli. Yes,
Thank you
Dipti
so
ji.
much. It was very significant of the roots. I never thought the roots were so incognito. Thank you.
Om Shanti, Brother Shantanu, Sister
Om Shanti
Dipti.
Didi.
I like the connection between Baba's talking about the power of tolerance, but in the next line, Baba was deepening the whole experience that it is through yoga that you finish everything, even the illness of the body, and then you can do the service that you need to do. So for me, there was a very deep connection between understanding the power of yoga, and it is that which fills the soul with capacity. And that's tolerance. So it's not that I'm tolerating something, but the capacity that is built in the soul when it has yoga with Baba gives it the ability to serve. Then Baba saying, which is the virtue for service? And he's saying tolerance. But today, the beautiful connection between tolerance and yoga power. So yoga power fills capacity. So that's what I enjoyed in today's
Wow.
Murli.
Yeah, thank you, Riddhi, for bringing it up, because that also reminds of Dadi Gulzar. Yesterday in Madhuban, there was a big function around Dadi's first Memorial Day, and the doctors were talking about the two doctors who were constantly in touch with Dadi and were serving the body, and they said, in our entire experience of such a long medical profession, we have never seen somebody who had such immense tolerance. And the tolerance that Dadi portrayed wasn't shown on her face at all. It felt like she was not tolerating while she was tolerating. And so what Diptiban was saying, that tolerance comes from the power of yoga, and we all understand how wise and powerful was Dadi Gulzar because of her constant connection with Baba. How she was so little to speak. The Dr. Akash, who was Dadi's doctor for the past 3-4 years, he said, I have met around 300 times in the past 3 years with Dadi. And in those 300 times, Dadi overall must have said only 200 words to him. And he said Dadi used to always communicate with eyes. We would say, Dadi, are you feeling good? Is it okay? Or are you feeling very bad? What's going on? Is it wrong? She would just, speak with her eyes. And also he said, when we will be doing difficult processes on the body, the operations and this and that, her face would be just like this, very simple. And something similar Hansaben shared with me when I went for a Rakhi, and I was looking at Dadi's picture in Dadi's room in Shantivan. And I said, and there were two sofas. In one sofa, Dadi's picture is there, and another sofa, Brahma Baba's picture is there. And constantly I was looking at Dadi, but my attention was going into Baba's picture. And again, I was coming in. It was like I'm seeing a mirror. Although the rational mind knows this is Dadi's photo, this is Baba's photo, but something in me was saying the eyes are so same. They're so similar energy. And I just said to Hansaben, that even though this is Dadi's picture, but I felt like Dadi is saying that look how similar I look to my father. And Hansaben said something which was very interesting, and I carried it back with me. She said that was her constant concern for the past few months. She would constantly ask everybody around, look at my face and tell me, am I looking like the father? How am I looking? And especially when the doctors would do some processes on the body, she would say, tell me, am I looking like the father? Because she wanted her face to look like Baba's face all the time. No pain should come on the face, because then it would reflect that I am not the one that Baba has chosen. So she was constantly looking into that. And so the constant connection that Didi just mentioned is also very important when it comes to tolerance. So both the great examples of both the daddies are something to really remember and feed us with constant inspiration. Thank you, Dipti, for bringing that point. I would have forgotten that. So anyone else who would like to share something? If nobody is sharing, then I would like to share an inspiration that just came while we were meditating. That Baba spoke about constant service, and I'm sure each one of us is busy doing so many service, so many ways, definitely through mind, through words, through actions. However, I think the speed of that and the magnitude of that has to increase, because I shared this in the class in the morning as well, that since the time I came to the UN, and I saw in UN people with so much of resources, well-read people, very powerful people. Even for them, many of them didn't know about us, and they didn't know about Shiv Baba because they don't know us. So who's going to tell them about Shiv Baba? So when they got to know about what Brahma Kumaris is or what service we do and things like that, they were like astonished. They said like, wow, we didn't know such an organization is there. So I asked myself, if people with facilities, if people with all the phone and all the powers in it do not know us so well and doesn't know Baba, imagine the big amount of people who don't have those facilities. How am I going to connect with them? Definitely connecting them in person is probably not uh, the thing for each one of us to think, because it's locally placed instruments would be serving them better, but serving them through mind is something that would be important. And I remember once Sudeshben was sharing an experience where she said that when she was coming to Africa for the first time, or maybe sometime, whichever number she mentioned, she said before coming to any place of service, she would serve that place with her mind. And some people, some indigenous people came to that function saying that this lady used to come in our dreams, and our deity or our spirit, whoever they used to remember or revere, would tell that go and meet her or go and see that place. So I have this strong belief that something has to happen faster, with more power, and with a lot of more deep intention to serve the entire humanity, to serve the entire world. So I welcome you with any suggestion and ideas that you have got for that. So what are we going to do next?
Maybe you share a little by how you came to Baba.
Baba brought me to himself. I didn't made an effort to come to him, because I think I was not looking for God at all, because in our family we were quite religious from the very beginning. We used to do, I mean, so many tantrums and things around worshipping. It was like funny now when I see it. But I think that was the foundation, because we never asked questions why we are doing this. Although there would be a question, why so much? I mean, not the question why we are doing this, but the question why that amount of worshipping and religious activities. Because in my house, my mom used to observe 3 days of religious special arrangements, on 3 particular days she'll be completely vegetarian, no onion, garlic, because she'll say this is the day of Lakshmi, this is the day of this is the day of that. And those days were the very difficult days for me, because I was very fond of different tastes, and so I would just run around to my neighbor's house, go there and make a bad face, and they'll say, do you want to eat? And I would say yes, and I'll eat there and I'll come back. So that was quite often with me. And so the first change in me, and I, since the very childhood, I was too much into devotion. Even I was in class 3 and 4, maybe hardly 8, 9, 10 years old, but I would do one day fasting, 24 hours fasting, because my parents were doing it, and so it was like a boost for me to do. But the first bigger change that happened to me was when I was very young, when I wanted to become a vegetarian, complete vegetarian. So it wasn't a spiritual cause for me that uh, started first. It was an ethical cause that made me more spiritual by time. And in my house, I was the first one to turn vegetarian. My mom was, uh, we were originally called Vaishnavas. So when in Vaishnav, which means the ones who worship the Vishnu. So in Vaishnavs, they are certainly allowed to be vegetarian if they want, but if they want to have non-veg, they can go for fish. And because we come from a Bengali family, so fish was like a fruit of the water. We would just eat it very regularly. So my mom was just a fish eater, but for us, we ate everything because our dad used to say, okay, if you can eat fish, you can eat egg and other things. So for me, my first change came when I experienced the hurt and the pain the hens and the chickens would undergo when they were slaughtered. And because I went there to buy something with my elder sister, and she was very strong. She's very strong. She was holding the chicken that was being murdered, and I was standing very far, but I was this shocked. And the thing that shook me the most was that the poultry house where we went also had lots of pets. They had 4, 5 dogs and many parrots. And each time a bird would be taken from the cage to the slaughter, these animals would start making noise. And although I was little, I asked myself, they are dogs and parrots, they're not even hens, they're not even related. And still they are making this expression which totally tells me that they are not happy, they're sad. And I am human, I'm supposed to be better than them. How can I be involved in this? So that day I came back and I said, I'm not going to eat this. And my dad started telling me many things from the scriptures, saying that, it is life eats life, life depends on life, this is food cycle, this. I said, all that is for you, not for me. For me, I'm not going to have it. So my dad said, okay, so you don't have the meat, but can you have the sabji, like the curry in which it is cooked? You can have that. I said, no means no. I won't have it. So I became the first person in my house, like a terrorist, to go out of the rule. And so my mom had to cook separately for me. And then my mom said, okay, if my son is not eating, my sister got inspired and she said, okay, I'll also not eat. So my mom said, okay, if the children are not eating, why would I eat? So she stopped. And then my dad said, okay, if 3 out of 4 are not eating, why should I invest my money into this? If I had to eat, I'll go out and eat. So this is how the dynamics of the family changed. I didn't understand it then, but now I understand because the consumption pattern changed, the pattern to think also started changing. Naturally, the fights in the family were less, but there were quite a lot of fights. I used to fight a lot with my sister, definitely. But then the thought process changed, the energy in the house changed a lot. And probably because I was coming, Baba was pulling me slowly, slowly, slowly. That very next year, me and my sister, we got invited to come to Gyan Sarovar. Gyan Sarovar was pretty new at that time, maybe just 5 years old, because it was in the year 2000 when me and my sister were invited to come to Gyan Sarovar in a national conference for artists. We both were very, very famous children in the city. Every newspaper now and then would have our names because we were very good artists. So the Brahma Kumaris people went to the art class where we used to go to invite us. And so my mom said, it is a Mount Abu, and he's the most naughty one that I have ever seen. I can't let them go by themselves. If I go, only then they go. And so the brother who came to our house to, convince my mom that please send these children, had to say yes to my mother's, mother's parameters, that only if I go, he goes, otherwise he can't go. The daughter can go because she's silent and good girl. So this made the three of us go to Madhuban, and we had no knowledge, nothing. And we went there, and that was, my mom started feeling a lot of connection with the space. For me, it was just a very nice place, and I was very happy running around and all that. And my sister had the vision of Brahma Baba in the clouds or somewhere, something she said. But she never told us that when we went there. So it was after we were coming back in the house, she shared, I had this feeling. For me, the first 2 days was very nice running around. and moving around, playing. But then I fall sick. I had fever. And then I started saying, I should not live here. This is a bad place. I don't want to stay here. Everybody's playing and doing things. I can't do this. So I just want to go back. And at that point of time, in the Baba dispensary in Gyansarovar, Dr. Narsiha was there. And he came and he said, oh, don't worry, it's just a fever. It will go. Take this medicine and we'll have food tomorrow together. We'll have rice. And I said, no, I don't want to eat anything. I want to just go back. And he said, tomorrow, 12 o'clock, your fever would go. Don't worry. And next day, 12 o'clock, my fever went. It was maybe his medical expertise that let it go. But I started believing that whatever these people say happens. So I started becoming more conscious about the energy around. Because before that, my sister had this vomiting experience whenever she sits in a diesel or petrol vehicle. And when we got down at the station and we saw this jeep that was supposed to take us up, she said, I am going back right now because I know I'll vomit. And the brother who was taking us, he said, believe me, you will not vomit today. And she said, you don't know me. I know I'll vomit the instant the car starts. And he said, believe me, you won't vomit. So I realized this is the second instant. The first, she didn't vomit, even though we went all up. And I realized what he said happened. And then when this fever thing happened, I said, what he said also happened. So it means whatever these people say happens. So I started becoming a more obedient child there in Gyan Sarovar at that point of time. And then I had very nice experience in Baba's room. And so when we were coming back, something in my heart said that I belong to this place and I'm going to come here every year. And so since then, I started visiting Madhuban every year. We went back to the city that we came from and we did our 7 days course. Before doing the 7 days course, we would listen to the Murli every day because the teacher would say, come at this time. After we finish the Murli, I'll do a 7 days course for you. So we'll just sit there and listen to the Murli without any doubts, any questions. We'll just nod our heads like puppets. And when the teacher would say, do you have any doubts? We'll say, no. I mean, what is a doubt? What is a question was never there. There was one incident which I specifically remember where Baba was saying, Krishna, they say Krishna comes in golden copper age, but Baba tells you Krishna comes in golden age. So when the sister said the Krishna comes in copper age, my head was just like this. And she said, Shantanu, do you have a doubt? And I immediately said, no, no, no. And she said, what? I said, no, I mean, I thought Krishna came in copper age because that is what the television feeds us. But if Baba says he has come in golden age, he must have come twice. That was my only answer at that point of time. And the Murli continued, but then I told to Baba in my mind that I don't know how you will prove this, that he comes in golden age and not in copper age. I leave it totally up to you. I have no hurry. Choose the best time to give me that answer. Whenever you think I am fit to understand that, give me that answer. And I have no hurry, but just make me understand that. And I forgot that I have provided this kind of a question to Baba even. Many years later, when I was in Madhuban, I started staying in Madhuban. One day I was in Pandabhavan and Shiluben was reading a Murli. And all of a sudden she started speaking about a context which was not in the Murli. And immediately that vision came in front of me where I was sitting and I was telling Baba that, this is a doubt in me, but you work on it. And that came and I could connect that this, what she said, really fits well with this doubt. So it's like I really don't think I had made any effort in coming to Baba. Baba pulled me, he worked on me, and he even remembered my questions when I forgot them. So he has so much love for all his children that he even remembers the doubts and the questions that we once had in our minds, and we don't think they are necessary anymore. But he would tick those boxes because he has promised. So this is a very brief summary of how I came to Baba because it's very interesting and it would take many sessions to learn about each other's story because I am very sure each one of us has such fascinating experiences when it comes to spending time with Baba. So I would love to listen to yours as well sometime, but I know time is short, and so I would keep it very simple and would finish my sharing with an invitation to all of you to come to Madhuban, because Madhuban is home. No matter what happens, no matter whoever, whatever is in between, just remember, I, the soul, belong to the Father who has created the home, and I need to be there. So please be welcome, make plans, come to Madhuban as soon as possible. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti Bai. We'll play a song and then, yes, we'll ask everyone to, put their cameras on, and you can just wave and say goodbye to all and have a vision of the family. Many are not on line. Okay.
राजयोगी बन के सीखो फूलों जैसा मुस्कुराना। राजयोगी बन के सीखो फूलों जैसा मुस्कुराना। गुण प्रभु के गुनगुनाना, सब पे खुशियाँ तुम लुटाना। गुण प्रभु के गुनगुनाना, सब पे खुशियाँ तुम लुटाना। राजयोगी बन के सीखो फूलों जैसा मुस्कुराना। जय पराजय सुख दुख संसार सागर की लहर है। साथी है भगवान तेरा, तुझको फिर कैसी फिकर है। हंसते हंसते दर्द पीना, दीनों को दिल से लगाना। हंसते हंसते दर्द पीना, दीनों को दिल से लगाना। राजयोगी बन के सीखो फूलों जैसा मुस्कुराना। लाल बिछुड़े शिव पिता से पास लाके तू मिला दे। भूले जो मंजिल दिखाकर, फासला उनका मिटा दे। प्रीत भर दिल में प्रभु की प्रेम की ज्योति जगाना। प्रीत भर दिल में प्रभु की प्रेम की ज्योति जगाना। राजयोगी बन के सीखो फूलों जैसा मुस्कुराना। से कब प्यास बुझती, प्यासा है ये विश्व सारा। डूबती कश्ती है जग की, तिनके का कैसा सहारा। बन के खेवन हार नैया, पार है तुमको लगाना। बन के खेवन हार नैया, पार है तुमको लगाना। राजयोगी बन के सीखो, भूलूं जैसा मुस्कुराना। गुण प्रभु के गुनगुनाना, सब पे खुशियाँ तुम लुटाना। राजयोगी बन के सीखो, भूलो जैसा मुस्कुराना।
I like to take this opportunity on behalf of our family to really, really thank our brother and listening to our brother. I don't know how long more you're going to be around by. So the thought was maybe we get you again to do more sharing, do a class. The other day I listened to the program that you did was also so powerful. Was it mind over mood or mood over mind, something like that? But it was a powerful, powerful program that you shared. And the thought was we should get you for Brahman sustenance again and for you to share, you know, some thoughts on deeper yoga and how to free ourselves and things. We will chat and maybe make arrangements with Dipti Ben.
So
And
I think I'm leaving tomorrow night for London. So I'll be in London
okay.
for the last 10 days of my stay. And because the Africa visit was all of a sudden, it happened. Drama and Baba is the best in giving surprises. So I am happy. And so this was a beautiful surprise that came in my life and I attended it. Tomorrow night I leave for London and then 24th I leave for Madhuban. But science has made everything so much possible. We can connect
Yes,
so much more often, anytime, anywhere. And so it would be wonderful to connect back again with the family.
lovely.
Thank
We
you
can
so much.
still have
Thank you
some
so much.
online sessions. Thank you. Bye for your precious time.
I enjoyed very much staying with you all.
Yes.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank you. Om Shanti.